What's up, y'all? High Stakes Takes back again. Crazy Saturday ahead of us. Anthony Joshua Usyk. You got UFC 266, Ortega versus Volkanovski. What? 20 locks on the Saturday slate for y'all. Just let's get to it. It's been a week. Let's have another day. New England Revolution game tonight. You boys are gonna be sitting front row on the sideline. I can't wait to see Buchanan dipping down the side. I cannot wait for that. Boys gonna have the, you know what I mean? This on that shit. You know what I mean? Feeling good on this Saturday morning. Let's get to it. Lineups just dropped for that Chelsea versus Man City game. Let's look at it quick. Oh, yup. Grealish, Jesus, Foden, and that Bruyne starting. Rodrigo, solid. He has his games, but who's on the bench? Mahrez, Torres, Sterling. I will never forget what you did to Liverpool. That whole ass shit. But Lukaku, Timo Werner, Kovacic, Jorginho, you already know my thoughts on him, but Conte back in there. Christensen and Rudiger gonna have a tough game. Thiago Silva not even starting. It's gonna get tough. It's gonna get tough, but it's gonna be a hell of a game. We aren't picking that one. If we did have a pick with Chelsea at home, we would take them plus a half. And those odds have shifted dramatically. Oh, actually, and also the Man United game at 7:30, that shifted from minus 250 to now, oh shit, minus 275. Little shifty motherfuckers out there. So, my first lock of the day, let's get into it. And before we even get into it, shout out High Stakes Takes. 3-1 on MLB locks over in the league yesterday. We started off yesterday. Club Brugge dominated the first half. Let up a late goal. Second half, end up tying it up in like the 77th, but can't quite find. They could have easily lost the game too. We had Greuther Fürth versus Bayern Munich. Bruh, 2-0 going into half. Playing Alphonso Davies as a winger. That's sneaky. But took him minus 2.5 plus the over 4.5. Game finished at 4 total goals. And Benjamin Pavard picked up a red card in, I think, the 49th minute. How you pick up a red card 4 minutes into the second half? That is crazy. But started off 0-3 yesterday. That shit was nuts. But ended 3-1 in the league. Day before that, Anderlecht draw plus 235. Twente versus AZ Alkmaar over 2.5. Granada blowing the game. That shit was awful. That shit was awful. But let's get into it. And if you need a spot to go check out some more in-depth information, help you make your picks, bruh, Oddspedia, low key. Sneaky spot. And let's see what the lineup's looking like for Man United. Ronaldo, Bruno, Greenwood, Pogba, Fred, McTominay, Maguire, and Rafael Varane. Let's go. They're about to dominate this game. So, in this game, and we're gonna brush through these locks. I don't know if, right? Still trying to find the flow, how much time to spend on each lock. So on this one, we're just going to go through it, right? Give you a little info, give you the odds, and give you my locks. So let's get into it. Man United versus Aston Villa. We're going to take Man United minus 275. It's going to be tough versus Villa. Villa dealing with some injuries, but I think think they're a team that plays sneaky at times, especially versus good teams. So we're going to take Man United minus 275. Let's go, money line. Send it. What's the next one? What's the next one we cooking up? We got Leeds versus West Ham. Shit. All them injuries for Leeds. Patrick Bamford, Koch, Lorente, Struik. Got the red card. Patrick Ayling. James. Nope. Jack Harrison. Former player for Man City. He's even questionable. And Rafinha. There's too much going on that lead side. It's too much in the air. You have West Ham, who just advanced in the Carabao Cup on the road versus Man United. Solid game. They're going to have Antonio out there, not really dealing with any injuries themselves, only Frederick's out. So I think going on the road in this game versus Leeds United, lock in West Ham plus 125. I couldn't even believe it. Plus 125? Are you kidding me? For that to even be plus odds is absolutely insane, especially with Leeds dealing with those injuries and how they played recently. So take West Ham, money line. We're staying away from the over-under. The next lock we got, Leicester at home versus Burnley. Now, Leicester needs to start their new signing, right? We'll take off the hood for that. Bruh, you signed Patson Daka, who is an absolute beast, and you're over there starting Rand Ayoze Perez? Bruh, come on. Come on. So, in this game, if they don't start Daka, stay away from it. Lineups drop at 9 a.m. Eastern. Make sure he starts, because not getting enough games is going to get him frustrated over there at Leicester. So, for this game, make sure you're wary of that. But Burnley, on the other hand, haven't really been performing well in the Premier League. Lost to Arsenal, lost to Everton, drew against Leeds. Tough going lately for them. So we're going to lock in Leicester on the money line. That shit is solid. Send it. Let's go. Let's go. Oh. Shit. Can't drop that shit. Shout out Chase. Y'all had to go in there yesterday, get some documents. Bruh, tell me why they kept my ID. How you ain't tell me that? Boy calls me up, yo, got your ID. I'm looking around like, boy, I gotta turn back around. They're already closed. He's like, I got you at the door. COVID protocols. I go in there. I'm like, yo, man. Bro doesn't even open up the door. Straight slides it underneath the little thing. I was like, yo, good looks. That shit's mad funny. Because I thought he was just going to open the door, say sorry, whatever. Nope. Right through the glass, just like... That boy. He a trip. Next game in the Premier League. Who we got? Liverpool at Brentford. Gonna be no problem. Brentford... Not really a good start after that Arsenal. I mean, 2-2-1, pushing them 9th. I mean, it's all right. But with only one win out of the last 4 games, you got Liverpool straight dominating this year. We have to be wary. Thiago's out. You have Alexander-Arnold, who did have an illness, but I think he will start this game. Roberto Firmino, he's questionable. Naby Keita, questionable. Nico Williams doesn't really get much playing time, so not really a big factor at all. And head-to-head, they've never played each other. That's kind of nuts. For a league to be around, what, 100-plus years, 150-plus years? For them to never play each other, that's absolutely insane. So, Liverpool, back-to-back 3-0 victories. And what a victory versus Norwich in the Carabao Cup. Didn't start any of their main guys. Put some sneaky players out there. Granted, Norwich did miss a penalty, but Ortega out there, Mino getting 2 goals. Curtis Jones, Naby Keita just played in that game, so He probably won't start in this one. Didn't really play or at all. I mean, Joe Gomez, he after last year, having that ill partnership and getting hurt, it's been tough sledding for him. So in Brentford, 2-0 victory on the road versus Wolves. But if you look at that game more in depth, Wolves held 62% of possession, had 11 shots, but none on net. And we took Wolves in that game too. For them to perform like that at home, come on. But Brentford at home, lost to Brighton, lost to Arsenal. It's a little club friendly. They didn't play their starters. But drawing against Aston Villa on the road, pretty good result. But Liverpool, just too dominant. We're going to stay away from that 1.5 spread. I don't think they'll cover it this week. They're going on the road. Brentford, a newly promoted team. Their fans are going to be wild and out there in full force. So this game, I'm going to stay away from the over-under at 2.5. I see Liverpool probably 1-0 tough victory, but I think they will get it done. So we're going to take Liverpool minus 200 on the money line. Let's go. I cannot wait for that game. We got Virgil out there. Let's fucking go. Games at 12:30. Cooking. Right where college football is happening. This is about to be a hectic day. And the Anthony Joshua fight versus Usyk. Bruh. You know I'll fuck with a Ukrainian boxer. A Russian. I'll fuck with him. I'll take him every time. You know how I was with Povetkin. Hitting crazy parlays for the kid. But that game's at 5. I mean, that boxing match is at 5:30 because it's over in England. Make sure you don't miss that. That's just going to be a hell of a fight. And you already know I'm taking Usyk in that. Let's go. So, Liverpool at Brentford. Lock in. Liverpool minus 200. And that's really it for the Premier League locks. We're going to stay away from Watford, Newcastle. Stay away from Everton versus Norwich. Just because Everton has so many injuries, I could easily see Norwich or either winning or that game being a draw. So, staying away from that one. Over to Ligue 1. We got Lyon versus Lorient. Lyon's been cooking lately. Granted, they lost to PSG 2 games ago, but beating Troyes 3-1. Rangers in the Europa League shut them out. Lyon versus Strasbourg, put 3 more on the board versus them. And then beating Nantes 1-0 on the road. That's solid. Lorient, though, that's a solid game versus Nice. Nice has a hell of a team out there. Actually, they didn't really start anybody. Yeah, they're missing Dolberg, Lamina, so that's not that good of a victory at all, to be honest. And drawing on the Rovers, Reims beat Lille 2-1, but if you look more in depth in that game, actually, only 44% of possession, which is basically, what's that, 5-7 minutes? Not a huge difference, but having 5 more shots and 7 shots on goal versus Lille, that's a solid performance. But Lorient on the road, not that good, right? They haven't won on the road yet this year in Ligue 1. I'm going to continue rocking with that. Last meeting between them, Lyon beat them 4-1 at home. And I feel like Lyon this year, they have a stronger squad. So I'm going to definitely take Lyon. I'm going to stay away from them, minus 1.5, even though they'll probably cover that because they have such a dominant team this year. And adding Jerome Boateng, that's not bad at all, right? I'm going to play one, take a match off. He's at that age now where he's not going to play a full season, but once he is in there, kind of like Thiago Silva, that's a solid defensive piece right at center back. So I'm going to take Lyon minus 295. And that's the only Ligue 1 pick I got because Lille on the road versus Strasbourg, tough. Nice, you seen them just lose. PSG at home versus Montpellier could be a solid match. But Montpellier, not too bad lately. Granted, they've been playing teams that not really up to par, but last meeting versus them in that little cup, 2-2 at full time, ended up losing in extra time, but I feel like this is one of them catch 'em games. PSG, they got that little bit of controversy. Once a coach says something about a player, right? Obviously, Messi's not going to want to get subbed off. But Pochettino, you see he's not playing games. All those star players, it's good to set a tone like that. But I don't know how it's going to come across to the players. So in this game, with Messi out, Ramos still out, you got Verratti out, I think this game's going to get tough. They'll probably pick up the victory, but I'll stay away from it. Now let's get to the Bundesliga. This week has been crazy. Bayern Leverkusen versus Mainz, RB Leipzig versus Hertha Berlin, Borussia Mönchengladbach versus Borussia Dortmund. Let's go. That's the game I'm looking forward to. I cannot wait. That joint's at 12:30. But let's get into it. My first lock for the Bundesliga. We got Bayern Munich. Nope, the other Bayern. We got Leverkusen, who's missing some players, but been performing like crazy. They picked up a red card. What game was that? I'm pretty sure it was in the Europa League game. They had just picked one up recently. Yeah, exactly. In their very last game versus Stuttgart, picked up a red card in the 31st minute. Awful challenge. But ended up putting up another goal after that. That's kind of nuts to play 60 plus minutes, like including the extra time at the end. Or the added time at the end. And then still put up another goal. They've been playing top notch lately. That new coach, Peter Bosz over there, putting in work. So, and Mainz, what? Only 2 goals in their last 3 games. Granted, they beat Greuther Fürth, but and that should have played in even more to Bayern Munich dominating. But red cards, that'll kill you sometimes. And Mainz losing on the road to Bochum, what do you think they're going to do versus Leverkusen? So, Leverkusen beating them 4 out of the last 5 meetings. I'm going to take Bayern Leverkusen. They're only sitting minus 135 on the money line. But if you look, and this is the same bet. If you take a minus 135 and they tie, you lose. If you take Leverkusen minus a half, that's minus 130. Just a little bit better odds. But if you notice something like that, obviously go and take the thing. Or go and take the bet with the better odds. Even if it's just slight. I think there's another game in here too. We'll get to it. But there's another game in there too where the team is like minus 145. And then you look at them to cover a half, which would be them winning. It's minus 135. Just a quick little 10 points difference, but those are little things you got to notice. And I don't know if I picked up on it yet. I'm going to look today. But if that happens, does that team lose more often than not? We'll see how that shit goes. But for this game, we're going to take Bayern Leverkusen minus a half. I think that's for sure going to hit. They're going to dominate. And for the over-under to be at 2.5, that's probably because Mainz have kept a clean sheet in their last 3 Bundesliga games. That's not bad, but Leverkusen attacking, you see the goals they put up right there. They get out and they get to it. So I think this is guaranteed Leverkusen covering that half. And I'll add in the over 2.5 goals. I think 2.5 on a Leverkusen game is crazy low. The next lock we got Leipzig versus Hertha Berlin. Now Leipzig been playing solid lately. I lied. A draw versus Coin on the road, which we did say last week on the lock show if you're listening. Bruh, that draw was almost guaranteed. Plus 275. Another one where we said that's not a bad bet at all. Ended up being a draw. They haven't won since August 21st, which is kind of sketchy. But, I mean, beating Stuttgart, it was a home game. They've had 3 out of their last 4 matches on the road. So, I think RB Leipzig coming home. When was the last time they lost to Hertha? In 2017. They've won 6 out of their last 7 matches versus Hertha. I'll for sure take Leipzig in this game. I'm going to stay away from them covering 1.5. But I'm going to definitely lock in Leipzig minus 310 on the money line. That's one where Hertha, they got back-to-back wins. Let's just look into that one again. Back-to-back wins. They beat Greuther. They beat Bochum. You can't really count that as wins for them. So we're going to take Leipzig minus 310 on the money line. Send it. Let's have a day. Let's have a day. Now this next one. 12:30. I know they have to be calling this shit something, right? Bro, I don't know what my head's doing. I just woke up and it's like, lock show, let's get to it. But missing Thuram, missing Liner, even Ducore, the new signing, I think that's going to be tough. And if Ben Sebaini misses this game, I don't think that they'll have even close to enough to even compete with Dortmund. Especially Dortmund coming off 4 straight wins. Mönchengladbach only 1 win in their last 5 games. Granted, they won the 4 previous. But out of their last 5 games, they've only beat Arminia Bielefeld or Bielefeld. I don't think they got enough, man. But Dortmund, 1-0 victory on the road last time they met in the Pokal. Granted, the game before that, they lost 4-2. But if you look at who played in that game, they had all their top players out there. Hoffman, Stindl, Player, Neuhaus, Ben Sebaini was out there. Dennis Zakaria. So, they don't have some of their top players. Even Lionel was out there. I think Dortmund's playing big different right now. And with Dortmund, you can expect goals. And the over-under in this game, let me just make sure, because it could have shifted. You know damn well that all these odds, they love to shift last second just to try to catch you off guard. And actually, just as we've been speaking within the past couple hours, Dortmund has shifted from minus 128 to minus 118. So, some money coming in either on the draw or Gladbach straight up. And probably Gladbach to cover a half, which I think is going to be tough. I'm going to stay away from the over-under in this game just because Dortmund's traveling on the road. And it's both teams with Borussia in their name. I know it's probably like a Borussia derby or some shit, whatever they call it. But I'm going to definitely stay away from the over-under. But Dortmund and Haaland, I'm rocking with them. So, we're going to take Dortmund minus 128 on the money line. Now, this next one, we got, what we got? Oh, my. Sevilla versus Espanyol. Stop playing. Stop playing. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. How are these odds so close? And this one definitely shifted. You got Sevilla minus 180. Espanyol plus 550. Sevilla getting Ocampos back. Actually starting Papu Gomez. Absolutely playing top notch. Beat Valencia 3-1. Granted, drew versus Elche and Real Sociedad. But that was on the road. And at home in the Champions League is always going to be tough. No matter if you're on the road or away. Like this upcoming week, we got Liverpool traveling to Porto. I would not be surprised to see that game turn into a draw. Liverpool traveling on the road. That one could get tough. But if we look, Sevilla has beat Espanyol 4 out of the last 5 times. Coming off that big victory versus Valencia. And look at the lineup. Ocampos, they got Rafa Mir, Lamela out there, Papu Gomez, bruh. And Kunde and Diego Carlos lock shit down. So let's go. Sevilla minus 180 on the money line. Send it. And I think that's my actually, yeah, that's definitely my only. See, you gotta look at it again. Because Real Madrid versus Villarreal, that's going to be a hell of a game. I want to pick it, but that's definitely my last lock in La Liga. So, I want to pick that game, right? But they're missing Marcelo, Mendy, Toni Cruz, Ceballos, Cabijal. I can't do it. Now this next lock, sneaky lock. And these games kick off 25 minutes. It's currently 7:05 over here in Rhode Island. Shout out the kid. Cooking on the little audition Thursday night right before the Panthers game. Shout out Panthers with a decent victory, right? That was tough, but we ain't going to get too into that. We're going to get over to Austria, where we got Wolfsberger at home versus Salzburg. Now Salzburg, all they do is put up goals. They're sitting minus 286. Playing solid. Last 2 away matches versus Wolfsberger, beat them. Big victories on the road. So in this game, if they start Adeyemi, now granted last game in their cup, they rested all their players, but if you look at them at home, and actually, Salzburg, even on the road, tied versus Sevilla 1-1. That's a hell of a performance. Beat both of the other teams in their Austrian Bundesliga. That's a solid away record. And if you look at their past 5, they've won 4 out of their last 5 away matches. Solid. So in this game, with Wolfsberger losing their last home game 3-1 versus Hartberg. And where's Hartberg in this? Sitting 6th. Only put up 12 goals this year. Look at Salzburg. Only giving up 4 goals while putting up 21. An absolute beast of a team. 5 dubs in a row in the Austrian Bundesliga. We're going to lock in Salzburg minus 286 on the money line. Let's get to it. What else we got? We did say we had like 20 for y'all. Head over here to the Netherlands. Shout out all the Dutch masters. Bitches doing the double Dutch. Shout them all out. Right? Shout out Von Dutch. That boy. Where's fucking Netherlands, huh? There we are. See, I scroll down that bitches at the top. See, I don't know why they put it as one of the top leagues. I mean, I guess. But Ajax, first Groningen, try to rip it, rolled the R like talking about a Spanish team. Fucking send it. But Ajax, ridiculous lately. Put up 5 goals versus Sporting on the road. In their last game in the EREDIVISIE, put up 5 goals, didn't give up a goal. Beat Camber 9-0. Bruh, absolutely wild. And look how many goals they had. Bruh, 19 goals in their past 3 games. And then if you add 5 more on top of that, they got 24 goals in 4 out of their last 5 games. That is an absolutely ridiculous stat. Now we got Groningen, where haven't won in their last 5 matches. And now you got them traveling on the road to the top team in the EREDIVISIE. That is absolutely ridiculous. It seems like the home team has won the past 4 games, but that's going to play in perfectly to this bet. I'm going to take Ajax minus 2.5 to absolutely dominate this game. And if you look at the standings, bruh, they might get relegated this year. They've given up 10 goals, which not too much. You see Camber, they give up 9 goals to Ajax. That's why their shit's at 18. But sitting 14th in the Eredivisie, where you only really have to battle a few top teams, I think this is looking perfect. Lock in Ajax minus 2.5. That's cooking. And Rhode Island Sportsbook, bro, you thought I was slipping. You can't add the money line in the over, but you can add the handicap bet and the over. So I don't know if you heard that little crack. That shit with my ankle, little ankle palate. So let's do it. We're gonna take Ajax minus 2.5 to absolutely dominate. And if they get a red card, I feel like your fucking bet should be canceled, right? You shouldn't hold me to it. Red cards, that shit's ridiculous. Players just out there wilding. So the next lock we got, let's go over here to Russia. What y'all doing? What y'all up to, Putin? But we got Zenit. Where you at, though? Where you at, though? At 9:30. At 9:30, let's cook. Let's cook. The little planes flying in. Granted, Zenit's missing Lovren, missing a couple other players too, but they've been playing absolutely solid. Played Chelsea in a hell of a game. Went on the road in the Champions League. Only lost 1-0, but to travel all the way to Stamford Bridge and come away only losing 1-0, that had to have boosted their confidence. They got 6 goals in the last 2 Russian Premier League games. And granted, this other team's been wilding. 10 goals in their cup match. Okay. Beating Rostov 4-2. But you go look, where's Rostov at? 15th, so you should have beat them. But you got Kryla, Sovetov Samara. Ripped it. You got, they won 4 out of their last 5. But losing to Lokomotiv Moscow, which we only got a few teams in the Russian Premier League who are even notable, and beating them, shit, they beat them 7 straight meetings. I think this is guaranteed to be a Zenit victory. We're going to take them. I don't know if they'll actually beat them by 2 goals. This is probably going to be a tough one, but they've been playing hella good lately. There'll probably be goals in this match, but we're going to stay away because the over-under is at 3.5, which is hectic. But we're going to lock in Zenit minus 325. Send it. Let's go. Cooking early on this Saturday morning. Let's get to it. And we're going to end the show talking to y'all about that little Thursday shit. The little audition. How they try to hold me to, right, bind me to a 3-year contract, take 20%. I'm like, boy, if we don't have some discussions about this shit, you know how I get professional with it. Can sit down, chop it up on numbers, all that, percentages. Don't try to play the kid even though it's my first time ever doing it. You know, shit ain't just gonna come easy, right? And that's for them and for me. This is a grind. And you think you're just gonna steal if I blow up? Probably ain't gonna happen like that. So, lock in Zenit minus 325. And now, last locks of the game. We're gonna go over to Switzerland. We're talking about BSC Young Boys taking on St. Gallen. Now, this one could get tough. If we look at it, what's up, Switzerland? How y'all doing? I know there's definitely some Swiss fans, some Swiss listeners. So shout out y'all. Hope y'all continuing to cook with the HST locks. Watching the episodes. Deadass. It's crazy because I'll get like retweeted and I like people from like people from Asia, people from Russia, Switzerland. Crazy demographic for soccer. Shit is beautiful for real. Because you start looking at it, I think let me actually give you a couple countries. If we look at the analytics, right? Australia, Germany, Philippines, South Africa, Syria, Hungary, right? And I know damn well I got that Hungary listener just from sending that Sosablai first goal scorer with that rocket in the side of the net. Shout out the kid. Shout out Hungary. Shout out Budapest. And the last one, if I mispronounced it, that's my fault. But the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, shout it out. Demographic just expanding, and it's beautiful to see. But let's get to this Switzerland lock. The last one before we get into 5. Actually, we got 7 MLS locks. Stop playing. And you know how I'm coming. I'm not just gonna come on this show, give you 5 quick locks and be like, yo, here, that's what it is. No, I'm gonna give you some stats behind it. I'm gonna give you my thoughts. We're gonna be out here pronouncing names and shit, having fun with it. But bro, I'm not just gonna give you a few locks. We're gonna hit you with 16. And guess what? You could go 0-16. But maintaining that 60% percentage, cook it then. So at 12 o'clock, BSC Young Boys over in Switzerland been dominating lately. Right? That is filthy. 13 goals in their past 2 games. They got 19 goals in their past 4 games. Absolutely stacked. St. Gallen, they lost 2-0 at home to Basel. And Basel is really one of the only other notable teams over there. Zerdich, haven't really heard too much about them. Maybe they make some statements. Maybe they finish in the top 3, right? Make a Europa Conference League or maybe even a Europa League spot next year. But Sion was really the only other one too. So you got BSC Young Boys absolutely dominating. You seen St. Gallen giving up 2 goals to Basel at home. Last road game in the Switzerland Premier League, giving out 5 goals. And then you look at it and it's like, oh, did they get a red card? And granted, yes, the fuck they did. 3 minutes in, red card. And then gave up 4 straight goals. Absolutely ridiculous. That means they play kind of wild. They give up goals. So I think Young Boys, they've been dominating. In their last game versus them, beat them 2-0. Dominated on shots, 22-14. Had 6 on target compared to their 1. I think this is an absolute lock, especially with how BSC has been playing lately. So I'm locking in BSC minus 400. I'm going to stay away from the minus 2.5. And with the over-under at 3.5 goals, this is almost guaranteed to hit the over. So we're going to take BSC and the over 3.5. Even though 3.5 could get sketchy sometimes. So, making sure we're just doing this live. Quick shit. I wrote down all the games, right? Looked into it. I was like, let's just float through this podcast, right? Instead of writing down mad shit. This is how we look at it. How we look into it. So let's kick it over to the MLS, which, hell of a day in MLS. I'll be at Gillette Stadium tonight, front row. You can check it out tonight over on the IG. Probably do a live video or something. Cooking for the High Stakes Hicks podcast. Sending our locks live. And then watching it hit live. Send it. So, MLS. Kicking off at 3:30. Philly versus Atlanta. Now, Atlanta United, granted they got some injuries. Franco's probably the biggest one missing because of accumulation of yellow cards. That's their center back. But their attacking play with Araujo and Josef Martinez absolutely dominant. I think Atlanta United being the underdog in this game is absolutely crazy. Let's see if that shifted, because it probably will. Let's see. Because they were plus a half at minus 130. I think it would be surprising. See? Alright. Oh, actually. It moved from their money line plus 255 to plus 270. That's insane. We know Philly has a solid goalkeeper. Andre Blake, an absolute beast. But I think Atlanta United's attacking pressure is just going to be too much. Even though they're traveling on the road, this is a battle of two teams who are right there in the standings. Let's just look at it a little more closely. Atlanta, 35 goals, only 30 given up. Philly, 31 goals, only 25 given up. That's a decent difference, but basically identical records. Philly just played one less game, which they'll probably draw the next game they don't play Atlanta. But Atlanta been playing on fire lately. So we're going to take Atlanta plus a half to at least get a draw out of this, if not win. So I'm going to lock in Atlanta plus a half. Send it. We're going to over-unders at 2.5, but we're going to stay away from that one. The game at 7 o'clock. Let's go. New England Revolution versus Orlando City. You got the Revs minus 190. Orlando City plus 480. Orlando just lost to Philly 3-1. The Revs rested most of their players in that last game. This game, they'll definitely be starting Bow. Definitely not Bow. I think it's like Boo and Buchanan. Buchanan is filthy, a Canadian international playing for the Revs. Absolute monster. So I think this game's going to play perfectly into the over, which is sitting at 2.5 right now, and this will change to 3.5. I guarantee it. So the over right now at minus 160. Lock it in. New England Revolution, you could take a minus 190, but I think they'll definitely win by at least 2 goals. So I'm going to take the Revs minus 1.5, and that's sitting at plus 130 odds. So that's plus money right there. And that along with the over 2.5. Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in. Let's get to it. Now we're going to stay away from that Columbus Crew versus Montreal game, because Montreal has been playing well lately, even though they're traveling on the road. We're going to stay away from it. Now DC United versus FC Cincy. Now this game, I think with the over-under at 2.5, Cincy's been giving up crazy goals lately. Right? 2 to New York City, 4 to Atlanta United. Granted, they shut out Toronto, but losing to Miami, letting up 3 to Columbus, I think this is going to be tough for Cincinnati. And granted, Cincy hasn't been in the league too long. There's only been one home match, and that was 2 years ago. DC United, they got a hell of a team now. And granted, they lost to Atlanta United, which was always going to be a tough match going on the road. But beating Chicago Fire 3-0 at home, beating Philly 3-1 at home. And granted, they lost the other game to Atlanta United at home. That just shows Atlanta United, hell of a team. That's why I'm surprised that line is so crazy in that Philly game. But probably missing that center back. That's why the odds are shifted like that. But in this game, we're going to take DC minus 205 and the over 2.5. Actually, the over 2.5 could get sketchy because it's only at minus 130, even though since he has been giving up goals. Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from the over 2.5. Lock in DC minus 205. Now the game at 8 o'clock, my lock of the week, or of this Saturday. Minnesota United getting Reynoso back. That's an absolute huge return for them. Reynoso comes back, scores 2 goals in the first half. Absolute monster. Granted, only 9 shots the whole game, only held 35% of possession. But being prolific in front of net, you have Houston Dynamo, who they play decent games, but they haven't beat them in 4 matches. So I'm thinking Minnesota getting Reynoso back. If he does start, because they might not want to start him back-to-back games, especially on his return from injury. But if he does start, I'm going to lock in Minnesota, and this is the other one. Minnesota minus 145 on the money line. Them to win, or them minus a half, which that means they win by at least 1 goal. That's minus 135, right? Why wouldn't you take them plus a half? It's literally the same bet. That's why I don't get that shit sometimes when the odds are different. But I will look into seeing whether that team doesn't win, ends up drawing, or maybe even loses. I definitely got to keep an eye on that one. So I'm gonna still take Minnesota, and this is only if Reynoso plays. Minnesota minus a half. I think that shit's guaranteed to cook. And with the over-under, we're going to stay away from it. There's some games where Houston will put up goals. But there's also games where, right, shutout versus Portland at home. Only 1 goal versus the Galaxy on the road. I'm going to stay away from that one. Definitely with the over-under at 2.5, I'm staying away from that. New York City versus Red Bulls. Killed my little 2-teamer, right? We had the Revs plus 190 on the road. And we had New York City. Well, actually, New York City FC and New York Red Bulls. Over 2.5. Should have definitely hit, but that blew my little 2-team parlay. So I'm staying away from that game. Fuck that shit. You look at San Jose versus LAFC. LA has so many injuries that they're dealing with. But look how many games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 out of their past 9 games have hit the over 2.5. It's sitting right now at minus 170. This is almost guaranteed to shift to 3.5. So make sure you get it in early. And I think actually, yeah, facts. We're going to stay away from winners in this game. You see, LA led up 2 versus Portland on the road. Now they're traveling on the road to San Jose, who just put up 4 goals in their last game. 3 goals in the game before. Their past 2 games, total of 14 goals. Along with each of their matchups finishing over 2.5. Besides that one. And that was when LAFC wasn't really stacked like that. And getting 2 goals from Zimmerman was one of those games that happened. So for this one, lock in the over 2.5. Stay away from winners. Because that's really a toss-up. Because LAFC, all those injuries, I can easily see them letting up 2 goals. So over 2.5. Lock it in for sure. And the last 2, Vancouver versus FC Dallas. Vancouver versus FC Dallas has been over 2.5 in 6 straight matches. Right now, the over-under sitting at 2.5. The over is minus 140, which is guaranteed to shift to at least minus 160. And with Vancouver being plus 122 on the money line, I don't like those weird numbers. I'm going to stay away from winners in this one. But with the over hitting in 6 straight matches, we're guaranteed to send that. That was like the same thing with that draw with Anderlecht and Gent. They had drew in their past 5 matches. What do you think is going to happen with the 6th one? And yeah, granted, that's like an obvious pick, I guess. But for a draw to happen, there's got to be a lot of little moments in the game where like ball hits the post, a crazy block by a defender. You never even know what could happen in the game. A fucking red card on a dominant team. Littlest things could lock in and fuck up your bet. But for this one, Lock in the over 2.5 in that Vancouver versus FC Dallas. That game is at 10 o'clock. Send it. Let's go. Let's go. Cooking. This game's about to kick off in 2 minutes. Let's fucking go. I can't wait for this game. Chelsea versus Man City. That's insane. 2 top teams. And granted, I'm a Liverpool fan, which I think they'll hold their own. They dominated Chelsea, even though they got their red card. But Chelsea and Tuchel, nothing to play with at all, for sure. So I can't wait to watch that game. I think Lukaku will score the first goal, for real. Some surprising shit. But we're gonna stay away from this a little bit too early. I'm liking Man United and the over. But yeah, that could get tough sometimes. But let's get into the last lock of today, where we got Portland Timbers at home versus Real Salt Lake. Portland's favorite plus 110. Over under sitting at minus 150. Another game where we're going to stay away from winners. In MLS, it always seems, to the games we lock in on, it always seems like either it should have hit the over and some crazy shit happened where it didn't, or it does. An absolute dominant game, like 5-6 goals. So there's a couple games here where if you were to bet that added market over 3.5, it is not bad at all. It's just about finding the right one. And I think this one right here, Portland Timbers versus Real Salt Lake at 10:30. Them late night games get hectic over there on the West Coast. There's been over 2.5 goals in 12 out of the last 14 meetings between these teams. Now that's some stats right there. That's out the back with it. And then hitting over 2.5 in 10 out of the last 11 matchups between these two teams. Come on, this is almost guaranteed. This is one that I'll call out early to shift to the over under being 3.5. Because right now, minus 150 odds. Granted, this game's not till fucking like 15 hours from now. So there's definitely going to be a lot of money going on that over. Get it in early, and that's how we wrapping up the show. Dead ass. Soccer locks all over the slate for y'all. HST and moves back cooking. And actually, yeah, quickly, let's look at these odds for the UFC tonight. Right? Give you live odds at the end of the show. Curtis Blades versus Rosenstruck. People are riding with Blades a lot, but right? I don't know in this one, man. But obviously, Nick Diaz making his return versus Robbie Lawler. And Robbie Lawler hasn't really fought in a while. Nick Diaz hasn't fought in fucking years. Probably over 5, maybe even, I won't go 10 years, but it could be. But obviously, the man out of Stockton, let's go. If I'm rocking with Nate, you know I'm rocking with Nick Diaz. Them boys out there wilding always. So I'm gonna definitely take Nick Diaz plus 135 and write that down right now. You just gotta rock with him, right? He's making his return, fucking fan favorite, and not that Robbie Lawler isn't, because Lawler, if you're a UFC fan, you know that boy is a dog. No matter how he's been performing, and as he gets older. But this is one of the matches. This is 2 legends stepping into the fucking ring, and I cannot wait to see that shit at 11:10. And those times are accurate too. That'll probably, depending on like knockouts and finishes early on in the card, that'll probably be around 11:05, 11:15. It's crazy how that's hella accurate like that. They probably do it like half hour in between. It's how it goes sometimes. Give you a little outlook on, all right, I could watch this then. Maybe when, right? We could watch that Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler at halftime of that Portland Timbers versus Real Salt Lake game. Everything just plays into each other, especially when you fucking love sports and it don't even matter what it is. And I'm actually hella amped I added in soccer to the repertoire. That's just MLB. Last time I was in an MLB fantasy league. Now these are with some guys that don't play around. They get after the waiver wire. You're playing with you got 2 minor league spots. And I took that league. Took it. And you know what they said next year? Yeah, we aren't going to continue this league. We got our main league. And guess who didn't get an invite? But shout out Duckets. That boy. Once you have a league with like 10 locked in and it's a keeper league, it's hard to just take over a team, right? Usually those 10 players, they're going to be in there for years and years. So let's get back into these locks. Nick Diaz, send it. Shevchenko, that's moved from minus 1,100 to minus 1,500. Shevchenko, minus 120. I don't know. Because minus 1,500, that's like obvious. So I'm going to stay away from that one. Brian Ortega versus Volkanovski. Now, there's some people rocking with Ortega. And he's an absolute animal, right? Not just striking, but he'll get you. He'll get you in that hard scarf. So, Volkanovski's going to have to get out there in the main event and put them paws on him, right? Because we've seen Ortega, when he fights a dog, he can get hit. And he's definitely susceptible to taking some hits. And Volkanovski, he's an absolute dog. And the only way he'll lose is if Ortega submits him. I guarantee that. Like, not guaranteeing that he will submit him, but the only way he will lose. Like, if you see right here. See? Exactly. Brian Ortega by submission is plus 400. Better odds than him to win by decision and by TKO. So, that's solid money right there. If he could somehow rock him, right? And he could. He definitely could. Anything could happen in a fight game. So, Ortega by submission is not bad money at all. I might just send it, even though I think Volkanovski will put them paws on him. I think if Ortega could get some action going early, if he could somehow get him to the ground, right? If he gets a takedown and then works, because I'm thinking, all right, he'll rock him, maybe get him against the fence, and boom, take his back, and then it's OVA. Over. So, Ortega, we're going to send that shit too. Ortega plus 400 by submission. That's sneaky. So, that's our little flyer for tonight, but we think Volkanovski's going to take the victory. Next one, Jessica Andrade versus Cynthia Calvillo. Calvillo, sneaky fighter. She'll get out there. She'll give it a dog fight. But Andrade, we seen she got power in that women's division. Sitting minus 240. In the over is at minus 175. That is absolutely insane. That's got me a little skeptical, because usually you see it go from 170 to, and granted, it's not like goals. You can't just put over 3.5, but minus 175. That's a little sketchy by me, or sketchy for me. But I'm gonna rock with Andrade. Minus 240 on the money line. I think she'll definitely pick up this victory. She's an absolute beast of a fighter, and Calvillo is too. But I think Andrade, it's just that step above. She's been in huge fights before, so I'm definitely gonna take Andrade minus 240. Marlon Moraes versus Valeshivi. I try, son. But this is going to be a hell of a fight too. Marlon Moraes, an absolute dog of a fighter. He goes out there, he tries to get the finish, or he gets finished, right? It's exactly what the fucking fans want to see. That's just lit. So, in that one, I'll probably take the under 2.5. That's a sneaky bet for that one. And Marlon Moraes, I would not be surprised to see him go out there and put in some work. So that one, if I were to take any bet, I think someone's gonna get knocked out. We'll take the under 2.5. But Dan Hooker, that boy with the bows, absolute animal. Is he? Nah. See, I don't want to mess it up. I think he's from New Zealand. But we'll just make sure, just to pay the respect to him. Send that shit. An absolute dog. Got knocked out by Michael Chandler, which was one of those, I didn't see it live, but it's one of those things where he's making his first appearance from Bellator. All the hype and shit, Dan Hooker just going in, he got caught. He got caught, man. And sometimes in a fight game, that shit happens, son. So, I think this one coming in 155, it's a little too close for my liking. I think Dan Hooker will probably shift to minus 170, maybe even higher. Definitely going to lock in Dan Hooker. He's an absolute dog and never looks for a way out in a fight. That boy is going to fight to the end or if he gets finished. And that's a fact. So I'm going to take Dan Hooker minus 155. Jalen Turner, beast. That's tough. See, that was plus 120. And I was talking to, right? We started the show, JB on the beat. I was talking to that boy JB about this fight. And I was like, yo, Jalen Turner. And I think I called him something different. But Jalen Turner, sneaky prospect. But Uros Medic, it's tough. Over under at 1.5. Looking for fireworks in this fight, it seems like. I think Jalen Turner is going to come in here. Plus 105. Slight underdog. But that money's shifting towards his way. I think we're going to lock in Jalen Turner too. Absolute beast. Sneaky fighter to look forward to. So, plus 105. Those are my UFC locks of the night. Send that shit. Now, is there goals already? Oh, shit. Is there goals already? Could it be? Are we already fucking up on locks? You get to see it live for both games 0-0. Okay. Let's go. So that's the lock show. Let's get into a little what happened Thursday night. Bruh. First little audition had the Nike script. They didn't even know how it was coming for it, right? Had the Zoom meeting set up, kind of like this, but I had the script at the top. Had the Zoom meeting right under, so I'm looking at the screen, right? Reading it, but the script is right there. They don't know that. Everyone else going to there with, because they said write it down, right? So they could read it off of paper. Fuck I look like? What am I going up giving a presentation with note cards? No chance I'm looking like shit on there. Guess what I did? Went, had that shit in the back, read it. I think I had a little hiccup in the middle, in between. It was a comma and it said something else. Little hiccup. I didn't stutter, but it was a little like pause. But I ripped that shit. That was it. And throughout the whole thing, about halfway through, they were like, "Oh, basically this whole thing has been we've been scouting you since the video started, and we've been looking at your reactions, all that." Guess what? I knew they were gonna do that. That's why every time they had like whatever they were talking about, they told you write shit down, this, that. Some people are just gonna like, yeah, I'll write a couple things down. Bro, listen, do that shit, right? People are talking, you're making your facial reactions off of what happens on the screen. There's like 8 people in the room, like 8 other people, including me. You know, I put out a podcast, but I'm not talking face to face with mad people just like auditioning. That shit. And even during the Zoom meeting, bro, heart pounded out of my chest. Tried to make it seem like I was fucking comfortable like a motherfucker. I wasn't nervous going into it, but bro, about halfway through, I started scribbling a little bit. 'Cause, bro, my shit's just fucking pounding. But I wrapped it up. I ripped it. He said he was giving everyone else like little, I don't know, like category traits, right? Hitting everyone like, oh, give me 4 this advantage, this whatever. Like if you had like, I don't know, if you're like from a certain part of the country or a certain nationality or like fashion model advantage. He was giving everyone traits. You know what he said to me after? Bruh, he told the lady, because he was telling the lady all these traits, right? And she was writing it down for each individual person. Bruh, tell me why. He goes, and you could catch this, I'll probably add this into the video, but he was like, for this one, I'm not even going to do traits. Just write down VIP. And I was like, I kept a straight face, right? Because you can't overreact to certain shit. And I already knew that based off how you react, this and that, it's a whole scout before you even go and do your little script read 40 minutes later into this whole thing. So it went smooth. Called them back yesterday. They said yes. That was absolutely amazing. First time I ever did that shit. I had to record it just in case. You never know what this shit's gonna lead to, right? Never ever know. They try to work a deal, right? Like 3 years. Oh, we got you under contract for 3 years. Take 20%, this, that. And I'm just thinking about it. I was like, if I just went and ripped this, right? And they could have been bullshitting. They could have gave a yes to everybody. But it seemed legit, right? He said, like, call my phone tomorrow. Like, make sure. He has a Baltimore, Maryland fucking area code. He's really talking, like, trying to prep me for this shit. Like, oh, make sure. Because I said I'm my athletic fit, this, that. For, like, whether it's acting or modeling or voiceover. I said that little accent, you know what I mean? Rhode Island accent, whatever it is. I don't fucking know. It's just how I talk. So, and then when I don't know, one of the things is the girl that was writing it down, she like, they like talked for a while, explained a lot of shit, watched a couple videos, and then she was like, all right, word. She's like, everyone, like, don't be nervous, loosen up, shake it off a little bit. You know your boy hit him with the... And guess what? It got attention, right? The lady right away, she was like, Robin, I see that. She was like, basically like, good shit. And you do a little shit like that, right? Because you know. You ain't just gonna be there, let me stretch out like I'm taking a fucking kneecap test. Like, no. And kneecaps, that's like New England, whatever. Not the actual kneecaps. But you do a little shit. It's noticed. At the end, right after my audition, they're like this, that, blah, blah, blah. Panthers went on. I was like, I straight up said, shout out the Panthers playing tonight. And I was like, shout out High Stakes. This is on the fucking Zoom meeting with all these. But it was good. You act yourself, just be yourself, right? Talk however you talk, right? People are gonna love you for you, and make sure you just stick to that. Be nothing but yourself. You gonna get to places you won't even fucking realize. And we gonna end it on that. We didn't complete the deal with them because I think just based off that, it just boosted the confidence. And you can't be cocky, or it could be underlined with a little, you know what I mean? But you gotta be confident. You gotta go in there. You can't be scared who's there. It doesn't matter. It don't fucking matter. There was some people, part of the agency in there, that didn't even have their picture. You never know who was watching, right? And having a Nike script, that shit was lit. So we're gonna end it on that. What a fucking week it was. Learning this whole new program at work, bro. Basically taking notes all fucking day. That's why we're coming back with this Saturday show. Didn't drop a show all week. Been hitting all week though. If you're following the locks on Twitter at High Stakes Takes. 33 hitters in the past 12 days. Or past 13 days. Ended the streak of like 7 or 8 straight days yesterday because you don't have time to like watch the game, right? Especially when you're over there, you gotta take notes for this shit. Making sure you're locked in, making right decisions. Don't bind yourself to some bullshit. Just throw out a couple parlays. But we put all our picks on there. Still maintaining an absolute Great percentage. I didn't even want to see this. This is how we end the show, right? We're gonna end it on some motivational speech shit. But, bro, DFS this past weekend, 19th out of 8,000 people, 11th out of 6,500 people, and D1. I can't even believe it. 157th out of 158,000 people. Talk about ratio. Come on, cooking. Absolutely cooking. So make sure you tuned in for tomorrow's show. Got all the DFS sleepers. Got all my locks. I think we could give you exact. No thanks about it. Because 7-2 on NFL locks last week. Only 3-4 on props. James O'Shaughnessy should have definitely hit over 2.5. Got hurt early. Cole Beasley, 4 catches. Bills dominated that game. Tough. But back with a huge show. I can't believe 7-2. I was 2 away from that crazy parlay. 2. Crazy. And copped the new whip last week. Absolutely insane week. Not ending it. This shit's gonna keep going. Tonight, front row watching Buchanan dip down the side as we got the Revs -1.5. Send it. Let's go. We gonna end on that. What a fucking week. And let's have another day. Let's get to it. With JB on the beat. Send that shit for me. Or don't. Let's go. Turn that up for the kid. Yes, sir. Let's go. Cookie. Do the little spin wheel shit. Let's go. Who's winning in these games? Nobody yet. Let's go. Hot Steaks Takes back with another one.